First Man is directed by Damien Chazelle and is the biopic of Neil Armstrong, played by Ryan Gosling, and the mission to get the first man on the moon in 1969. Of course I was excited for this film because I loved Whiplash, I loved La La Land, so Damien Chazelle directing a new film, I'm gonna be there no matter what, and it just so happens to be a Neil Armstrong biopic about the mission to get him on the moon. I mean, come on, what was not to be excited about? First Man is the least best film that Damien Chazelle has made so far, but that just goes to show how great he is as a director, because First Man is still really, really good. What really surprised me about this film is how much attention was given to Neil Armstrong. I was expecting him to be a main focus, obviously, because he is the first man in First Man, but I was expecting the film to be more about NASA and them trying to figure out how to get to the moon and all the trials and errors that they had to get through to get the first man on the moon, which you do get that. You get a lot of that actually, but there's just as much attention put on Neil Armstrong and his family and their reaction to the whole situation of the mission, and in that it's a surprisingly personal film and a surprisingly heartfelt film as well, because Neil Armstrong is kind of closed off about the mission. He's not talking to his family a whole bunch, he's quite pensive pretty much the entire time of this film. He doesn't really want to talk about it too much, he's just very concentrated on the mission at hand. But when you see him like playing with his kids and being a family guy, you really like look at him in a bit of a different way, because my knowledge of the whole Neil Armstrong First Man on the Moon thing was literally just America got Neil Armstrong, Buzz Aldrin, they went to the moon, he walked on the moon, you know, one small step, one giant leap for mankind, blah blah blah. But after seeing this film, I think about Neil Armstrong in a completely different way, because at the end of the day, he was just a really normal guy with a normal family. I mean, yeah, he has the background in engineering and he has all that piloting skills and stuff, but really when he's not doing that, he's a everyday normal guy at home with his family, playing with his kids. And in that, it was kind of inspirational to see this really average guy be the first human being to walk on a surface in space that wasn't Earth. But of course you also have the NASA side of it, with them trying to figure out how to get to the moon, what to do in terms of the rocket propulsion and all that cool sciencey stuff. Thus it shows you the successes, the failures and the sacrifices that were made along the way. I mean, people died in order for this mission to be successful. I did not know about that. Again, my knowledge of this whole event was bare minimum, but I had no idea that people sacrificed their lives, of course unwillingly because of accidents and faults and stuff. But in that, it was just a big eye-opener, and it really just expanded my respect for the people involved with this mission, and just it really added to that whole level of just enthrallingness. Let's talk about the space launch sequences, because oh my god, these things are just something to behold. This film's worth seeing on the big screen just for these sequences alone. There's this sequence about halfway through the film where they're trying this like redocking maneuver above the atmosphere. This thing was intense and riveting as hell, because things go wrong and they start spinning out of control towards the Earth at millions of miles an hour. And Damien Chazelle does something really good here. He keeps the camera inside the cockpit whilst they're launching, and the camera's shaking all over the place, and it really puts you in that cockpit with Ryan Gosling and the other astronauts, because it's really disorientating. You can't really tell what's going on for the most part, but I'm guessing that's how the astronauts feel. So in that, it really puts you in the astronauts' shoes. But when this spacecraft is spinning towards the Earth at unfathomable speeds, it's just so damn riveting, because it cuts to the outside of the spaceship and it just shows it spinning so much. You see the Earth just zoom past so fast, and it's just so white knuckle intense. I wasn't expecting this film to be as intense as it was in that aspect. And then you get to the big finale where they land on the moon and they walk on the moon, one giant leap for mankind and all that cool stuff. That entire sequence was incredibly enthralling. The visual effects were awe-inspiring, and again it was just really inspirational, going back to the whole Neil Armstrong being a normal guy on the moon, and they really hit home that point really, really well. Oh yeah, and the whole American flag controversy, that to me was inconsequential. They didn't need to show the American flag, because the whole point of this film was not about getting the first American person on the moon. The film's not called First American, it's called First Man, and it's a story of the first human being walking on the moon, and that's the point the film really hits home. So in case you couldn't tell, I really liked First Man a lot. Damien Chazelle just proves that he is one of the best directors working today, and just shows how diverse he is as well, because Whiplash, La La Land, First Man, three completely different films from a genre and execution execution standpoint, so he's got like free range to do pretty much whatever he wants from now on. So it was extremely well directed and really well acted as well. Forgot to talk about the performances. Ryan Gosling was really good. Claire Foy was also really good as well. I'm starting to become quite a Claire Foy fan recently. She just has a way of, you know, putting so much realism into her performances. It was a really engaging film in seeing how the mission came together and how they accomplished the mission. The space sequences were extremely well done. The visual effects were outstanding. I only have one flaw with the film, and that is there are some pacing issues in the first half. Second half, pace issue free for me, but the first half, it was a bit rocky sometimes with how quickly the film was going, but overall I thought First Man was excellent, and I'm going to give it a 4.5 out of 5. So guys, tell me in the comments below what you thought of First Man when you get a chance to see the film, and what's your favourite space film of the last couple years or so. Whatever your thoughts are, let me know in the comments below, and if you want to see more of my stuff, click on one of these in a second, and I'll see you all next time.